Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Wednesday morning to you all. I hope you guys are feeling all right out there this morning, having yourselves a great start to your day. Great week out there as we inch a little bit closer to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Of course, we all know we have a very impactful storm system coming for just about everybody along the central and eastern U.S. Blizzard conditions for a lot of folks, strong winds, very impactful, damaging winds, dangerous wind chills, a lot going on here. So we're here to break it down as we have been doing 2 videos a day, trying to pump out the latest information for you guys. So in this video, we're going to mix the global models with these short-range mesoscale cam models, and we're just gonna kind of mix and match, if you will. And then tonight we'll be in full range of all the short-range models, and really this will be in the beginning stages of cranking up as we make our evening video tonight. So stay tuned for that. But this is going to be some great content in this video. We're going to change some things up, show some different areas, zoom in certain areas. Really talking to you, the Ohio Valley areas of the Mid-South, and we're going to figure this out for you folks. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Thank you all for the wild growth over the last, I would say, 14 to 21 days. It's been amazing. Welcome to any folks who, just started viewing. Welcome to the family. It's definitely more of a personal family-like atmosphere with this channel. It's been awesome seeing everybody pray for one another. It really has. It's just awesome reading through it, everyone looking out for one another. So if you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. It helps to get this video out there. Hit me up on Twitter, Facebook. We like to have some fun on there. It's a little bit of some humor mixed with some weather, and I keep you guys updated and things like this when we have very impactful weather on the way. If you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, put those in the comments, and not only I can pray over it, but I promise you others will too. So let's get rolling. This morning, listen, the Arctic front will begin to drop south. But, look at all these watches and warnings. You got blizzard warnings still just right outside of Minneapolis, just to the west and southwest and south. All the pinks you see is winter storm warnings, winter storm watches, winter weather advisories. You got some winter storm warnings now up for areas of far western Maryland, the mountainous areas, the hills of Maryland, West Virginia. No winter storm warnings up for any counties in Virginia as of now, but you got plenty of winter weather advisories extending all the way down the eastern slopes of the Appalachian Mountains in North Carolina. You got wind chill advisories, watches, warnings. You got all kinds of things. It's going to get very cold, even for us folks here in the South. So there's a lot going on. So what we do know is it's going to be very cold. And let me start this off by saying, yes, there is going to be blizzard-like conditions, but I think there's this kind of misconception that there's going to be a ton of snow. For a lot of folks, there is not. But the little bit of snow that's going to fall, if you're in the 2 to 4 inch range, I know for a lot of folks in the Ohio Valley, that's not a lot of snow. But the dangerous part of this really is the temperatures, the wind chills, and the winds. Guys, the winds are going to be like tropical storm, hurricane force winds in parts of the Ohio Valley. So, when you switched from rain to snow, first off, the temperature is going to plummet dramatically. I mean, it's going to be very dramatic. And then the strong winds are accompanied with it. And then, you get maybe a few to several inches of snow behind it. Now, areas like Michigan, Wisconsin, and northern sections of the Ohio Valley could pick up over a foot of snow. We'll talk about that. But let's talk about the temperatures. And I know I've been talking a lot on the temperatures, but it is very important. I know there's some hardy folks out there that can handle this. But this is pretty dangerous, even for folks up in the north. We'll start this off this afternoon. We're in real time now. This is about to crank up. The Arctic air has been in these areas of Montana and North Dakota. Watch as this sags south. It really starts to move south. We get into the middle of the night tonight. If you're confused of what time frame we're at, just look up here or look over here, where this is an Eastern time. So if you're in Central, obviously back it up 1 hour. So this is around midnight tonight. Front is cutting areas of Kansas in half. It's moved through most of Nebraska. Denver. I haven't mentioned Denver a lot, but you guys are going to be frigid, well below zero for temperatures. And remember, tonight we'll talk 100% just about on these short-range models. I'm going to mix them up a little bit. And I'm not just going to show global models. I'm going to show these short-range models too, like the HRRR and the NAM. I'm going to show a lot of things in this video. So we're getting into Thursday morning, this front. The timing is starting to really hone in on a time frame. Dallas, you're waking up to the 40s. So not too bad. You wake up and you're like, okay, it's just a typical December morning. By the time you get into lunchtime, or even mid-morning in Dallas, it's in the 20s. By the time you get into lunchtime, it might be in the teens in Dallas. Front's blasting through. This is around midday Thursday. You're maybe sitting at 0 degrees in Kansas City with snow falling. Front moves through St. Louis. It's already moved through Oklahoma City and Tulsa. Omaha's up here, well below 0 in the middle of the afternoon. This blast through Chicago probably sometime tomorrow evening. You immediately plummet to the teens and close to single digits. And this time, look at this. Let's just take it all the way out to Friday morning. You're in the teens in Dallas, single digits, Oklahoma City, Tulsa. Up here in Kansas City, below 0. Same thing with St. Louis with snow-covered grounds. Now, I can tell you, the HRRR model is even colder. So we got to watch for it to be colder, because I do think areas that do get a nice little snowpack on the ground, even if it's just 4 or 5 inches, that cold snowpack, it actually allows for the temperatures to plummet even more. So you got to watch that, right? So, we're getting into Friday morning, the morning before Christmas Eve. You're at 3 degrees in Nashville, 7 in Memphis. This is going to be give or take a degree. It's not exact science here. We're not going to know exactly what's going to happen until it happens, right? We get into Friday afternoon. You're only in the 20s in Dallas, 20s in Shreveport, 20s in Jackson, teens in Memphis for highs, teens and low 20s for Little Rock. You get up into Missouri, you're potentially in a lot of the state in single digits for high temperatures for Friday. We'll take it all the way to Christmas Eve morning. Very cold. I bet just about the entire state of Texas froze up below freezing, well below freezing. Start to moderate somewhat, but you're waking up to below 0 temperatures in the Midwest, Ohio Valley, just very cold. Christmas Eve for highs, you begin to moderate, but you still struggle to get above freezing for areas in Texas. Oklahoma, most of the state will still be below freezing, and then it's just locked into the frozen tundra up here for a while. We'll go on and switch to the eastern U.S., and we'll back this up a little bit and watch the front kind of move through. And I mentioned Memphis and Nashville already, but, for example here, you might go to bed in Nashville, it's in the 40s outside. By the time you wake up Friday morning, it might be 3 degrees. In the plateau of Tennessee and areas of east central Tennessee, it might get below 0. Lexington, Kentucky, below 0. Cincinnati, 2 degrees below 0. This front's blasting through Ohio at this time, and you're waking up to sub-zero temperatures in these areas of the Ohio Valley. This front blasts through the Carolinas around Friday morning. I made a joke on Twitter and Facebook saying I'm going to get my water hose out 30 minutes before the cold front comes and spray my entire lawn down in my trees so everything can flash freeze on everything and make it look just like it's glistening like Christmas time. And I probably will do it, folks. I'm a kid at heart. I do crazy stuff like that. And it'll probably cause my water hose to freeze up. But, the sacrifices you have to make things look like a winter weatherland. But here we go. Friday morning, waking up temperatures around 14, 12 degrees in Birmingham. You're flirting with single digits in Atlanta. I don't think it'll quite make it. But, by the time you get into midday Friday, it's saying 28 degrees for a high temperature. In fact, temperatures will probably plummet throughout the day or just stay the same. I don't remember the last time here in my neck of the woods it only hit 28 degrees for a high. So it's going to be wild. The high temperature will actually occur in a lot of these areas in the southeast probably at midnight. And then the front moves through and the temperatures just drop after that. But these are high temperatures Friday, single digits for the Ohio Valley. The wind chills are even more brutal than this. And, these are high temperatures. Look in the deep south, you're froze up. High temperatures only in the 30s in the panhandle of Florida. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, you're struggling to get above freezing. And then this blast through the northeast, this Arctic front does. And by the time you get into the morning of Christmas Eve, I think it could be colder for some of these areas in the southeast, but teens widespread, single digits for Tennessee. Not any worse than what you had already seen at this point in the last 24 hours. Just very cold. Find your state, look at your temperature, and don't get mad if I don't say your specific state. But you see it on the map geographically. I hope you know where your state is on this map, but it surprises me that people actually do not know where they are at on a map. If you don't, no hard feelings towards you. You definitely should know where you are on a map, that's for sure. But Saturday, around high temperatures, you're in the single digits for Christmas Eve. You're doing any last-second stuff outside. I hope you're not, because you're not going to be able to handle it for long, even the most hardy people, But these are high temperatures Christmas Eve, 30 degrees. in Columbia, 28 in Charlotte, Atlanta only in the 20s, Birmingham only in the 20s, teens for Tennessee. I mean, just about everybody below freezing. You're almost all the way into the 40s for highs in Miami. Certainly, if you get into the south central areas of Miami, points north, only for 40s for highs. I know that's not too bad, but for Florida, that is cold. The iguanas are going to be falling left and right. They are not going to like that at all. But hopefully, they don't have to fall too far and get a nice little headache. They fall too far. So, going forward, getting into Christmas morning, very cold still, just not quite as cold, but you're still locked below zero in a lot of these areas. And Christmas Day is going to be quite uncomfortable for a lot of folks. For you folks down here in the South who are used to these warm Christmas days as of late, where you can go outside. I know last year, I was outside with just short sleeve shirts on and just chilling with the neighborhood as they were playing with their outside toys. It's not going to be the case this year. It's just going to be cold. But these are potential Christmas Day highs. As we get into the day after Christmas, temperatures begin to moderate, but still very cold. Still very cold even the day after Christmas. One thing I'll show you is we'll get a closer look. I want to compare and contrast something. It's the Ohio Valley. It's a different vantage point than what we've been looking at. The Ohio Valley, look at this front. This is the HRRR model, so we're in range of it for the most part. Not the entire duration of the event, not even close. But at the same time, we can look at some things here. So at this point, it's the HRRR model showing tomorrow morning around 0 degrees in Kansas City. This is St. Louis, right into this region, right into here. You're waking up to the 30s. Front moves through, immediately drops into the single digits by the afternoon. And it is snowing, guys. It is snowing. Front moves through around sometime tomorrow afternoon. For Chicago, you go from the mid-30s to about 7 degrees, something like that, in the single digits by the time it's dinner time. Look at these temperatures in the evenings in Iowa, Minnesota, areas of eastern Nebraska and the Dakotas. This is what the HRRR model is showing. You're Des Moines, you're 15 degrees below zero. This isn't wind chills. These are temperatures, guys. It's saying it Friday evening, it'll be below zero in northern Arkansas. So we'll see how this works out. You continue to work this, and this only goes 48 hours out through about midnight Thursday night. But look at this. You compare what this is showing with what the GFS ensembles are showing. For example, keep your eye on Indiana. This is for the middle of the night, Thursday night. Look at Indianapolis. It's 10 degrees below zero. Bloomington, same thing. We look at the GFS ensembles. Not near as cold. In fact, the ensemble run is probably about 10 to as much as 15 degrees warmer. So I don't know if the HRRR model is going to be right, but I can't stress enough how dangerous these temperatures are, guys. I can't. It's just going to be insane. But, we certainly got to watch this, guys, and how this is going to unfold. But going forward, we'll look at the wind chills are going to be absolutely insane. And they start off by this afternoon. We'll take it all the way. Let's just go to about the middle of the night tonight, about midnight East Central Time. You're 50 to 60 degrees below zero, the feel-like temperatures. You're not going to be able, most people aren't going to be able to handle that. Unless you're just a tough son of a gun, you are not going to be able to handle this whatsoever. And this is moving through Thursday morning. You got some nasty wind chills knocking on the door of Oklahoma City and Tulsa. Let's just take it all the way out to Thursday about midday. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon Central Time. You got a 10-degree wind chill in Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's a nice, brisk 55-degree wind chill in Shreveport. By the time you get to about 6 o'clock, 3 hours later, it's a nice brisk 17-degree wind chill. Single digits for Little Rock. At this point, you're probably 15 into 20 degrees below zero for wind chills in St. Louis, Kansas City, Omaha, you're 35, 40 degrees. Same thing below zero. Same thing for Des Moines, Minneapolis. Same thing. Just brutal temperatures. And this continues to march eastward. We'll switch to that. And, look at this. Let's just go on and take it out to about Friday morning of the 23rd. 11 degrees below zero wind chill. Huntsville, -6, 6 below zero. Memphis, 10 below zero. Atlanta, you're going to get wind chill warnings and watches extended into the Carolinas for sure. For example, you got a wind chill of about 53 around 5 o'clock in the morning in Columbia. By the time you get to around 8 o'clock in the morning, you got a 28-degree wind chill. By the time you get, into the afternoon, it's well into the 20s. Charlotte 14 degrees. And, we'll take it all the way out to about Saturday morning. Wind chill of 5 degrees in Columbia. Wind chill in the single digits in the panhandle of Florida. Atlanta, below zero wind chill. I mean, just look where you're at. In Ohio Valley, brutal. Just absolutely brutal. With snow falling still. This is just brutal wind chills for sure. And we look at this and we look at the winds. These are important, guys. Look how windy it's going to be. The front drops down. Here it comes immediately. You can tell where the front is. Doesn't take a rocket scientist for this at all. And immediately behind the front, look ahead of the front. This is winds in miles per hour and gusts. Just 4 to 7 mile per hour winds. Easy like Sunday morning. Ain't too bad out here. Some breezy conditions ahead of the front, but nothing too bad. But look at the front. Look at the boundary with this. This blast through Kansas City in the wee hours of the morning. You are going to hear it. If you're not already up at about 3 o'clock in the morning, the front's going to come through and the entire atmosphere shifts. This is getting into about Thursday morning, tomorrow morning. We can say that now because we're this close to the event. Look at these winds. I mean, gusting, 30, 40, as much as 50 miles per hour in Kansas. Oklahoma, same deal. I mean, just find where you're at in the map, man. It just is, this is a big deal. And you folks can handle 30, 40, 50 mile per hour wind gusts in the middle of the country. It's very breezy out here. Nothing that's completely unheard of. But the thing is really once this gets into the Ohio Valley, look at this associated around tomorrow evening with this front. You got like a 30 to 40, 50 mile per hour wind gust associated with this. This moves to the Ohio Valley, and with the surface low that starts spinning up and riding up to Michigan, you start to get tropical storm to hurricane force winds Friday morning off Lake Erie and Lake Michigan. And then by the time you get into the afternoon, guys, of Friday of the 23rd, you got 40 to 50, 60 mile per hour wind gusts gusting throughout Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, areas of Michigan, very windy even in Kentucky, West Virginia, Western Pennsylvania. I mean, it is very windy. Look at these. It's an 81 mile per hour wind gust showing up. And listen, if you're in Buffalo, the lake, that's the thing, is a lot of people don't realize the lake effect snow that's going to be enhanced off these Great Lakes after the main system moves through. Buffalo, I mean, it's going to look like just an all-out blizzard out here. It's not so much how much snow's fall. Y'all can handle the snow. I mean, you got 80 inches of snow back in November just south of Buffalo. The winds, this is a different ball game. It's a different storm, and they are going to be intense if you're on the shores of Lake Erie and Ontario, especially if you're bordering these shores of any of the Great Lakes, especially on the eastern and southeastern sides. The UP of Michigan, same deal. Just brutal winds. And if you're I talked about this last night, but if you're in basically southern New England, these winds are going to crank up in the middle of the night, tomorrow night, and a Friday morning ahead of this system. I'm talking about, look over here. I know this is kind of hard to see on your screen, but I'm talking 60, 70 mile per hour wind gusts in southern New England. It's going to be like a nor'easter riding through. And then it's not done. It's going to continue into Friday afternoon. 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gust continues. Very, very windy. It's a part of the storm that's just going to get overlooked. Now, everybody wants to know, well, what about the snow? How much snow? Well, it's not going to be a ton of snow, but it doesn't have to be a ton of snow to make blizzard conditions. That's not necessarily the criteria of a blizzard. But moving forward, we can take a look at the HRRR model. So this is going to look a little bit different than what you've seen with the globals. But starting us off this morning, you'll have snow blow through Minneapolis this morning. Very cold temperatures. Everything's going to accumulate rapidly. We get into this afternoon, Des Moines, Iowa starts to see some snow, light to moderate snow blow through. This can pick up. And then this is when the surface low begins to pick up. We get into the middle of the night tonight. I'm talking about 11 p.m., about midnight in Central Time. The snow starts to knock on the door. It's snowing in Omaha at a pretty heavy clip. But look, it's not like it's going to snow forever in Omaha. It blows through in a probably several hour period. But you got to understand that, these snowfall ratios, whatever falls, if you get 1 hour of heavy snow, you could get 2 or 3 inches of snow. It's because the snow's falling in the single digits, in some cases below zero. What I'm watching is this little mesoscale feature along the actual front that's almost like a squall line of snow, guys. And this, you got to watch this. This is around 2 a.m. in the morning for Kansas City. This moves through, strong winds associated with it, just blowing snow. And then this moves through and some light to moderate, maybe heavy snow blows in behind it. Same thing with, St. Louis. This starts to knock on the door of St. Louis, and it looks like a little mini squall line. This is also, for you folks in Tulsa, Oklahoma, you could see some snow, some sleet, maybe even some freezing rain based off of the HRRR model showing. I'm not buying that, but you could see some back-end snow. I think you will see it as far southwest as areas of central Oklahoma. So don't give up, and it might be enough to coat the ground. It could be. This starts to move into Wisconsin. At this point, most of Wisconsin is seeing snow. The moisture field begins to expand somewhat. We start to get into about midday Thursday, about lunchtime, and then it just starts off with a bang in Chicago. I mean, yes, it might have trended away from these foot snowfall totals in Chicago, but when it starts, guys, you are not going to want to be on the roads. About midday Thursday, I'm telling you, you might see this coming physically like a squall of snow. But I mean, you already got heavy snow breaking out over northern Indiana, southern Michigan. And I mean, look at this little feature right here. This is moving through. And this only is going to go out to 48 hours, but this is the HRRR model. And this, it only shows a several hour period of snow for Illinois. I know I can hear y'all guys now. Dang, that's not a lot, but I'm telling you, you're going to get a few to several inches of snow off this because of how cold it's snowing at. 20 to 30 to 1 snowfall ratios, meaning you could pick up 2 to 3 inches per hour just in these rates, especially if you get some heavy burst. But look at this little squall of snow moving through western Tennessee, Kentucky. And I think the models have been picking up on some kind of heavier feature down here where, you could just get maybe a thunderstorm of snow. Thunder snow is not going to be ruled out with this at all. We'll take it all the way out, and here we go. It starts snowing, and even as far south as northern areas of Mississippi. It's snowing in all the western Tennessee at this point. Arkansas, it might make it as far southwest as a brief period of snow in Little Rock. And this is moving through. We're making our way until about Thursday evening. The rainy kind of rain quickly switches to some maybe moderate to at times heavy snow, but really this feature right here is just blowing my mind. It really is. And I mean, we're in the short range models. I'm telling you, if you're in like Indiana, for example, let's back it up. This is around, I know I'm all over the place, but this is wild, honestly. Thursday afternoon, in Indianapolis, sometime, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, give or take an hour. By the way, it's pouring snow in Michigan at this point, in UP and Michigan. I mean, it could start off some rain. You're like, okay, well, it's not too bad. Front moves through, temperatures plummet. Heavy snow immediately accumulates on everything. And then a several hour period of snow follows. Ohio. If you're in Ohio, you're hearing rumors of a dry slot. If you look at the NAM and HRRR model, there's not really a dry slot. But look at the snow moving through Kentucky, moving through Ohio. This is intense. This is like a thunderstorm, like a squall line of snow. Starts off as rain, quickly changes to snow. And look at for my folks down here in northern Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama. Remember, the temperatures plummet behind this. So anything that falls as far south as northern Alabama down here, even if you just get a 1 hour period of light snow, there is a solid chance it's going to coat everything. I'm not talking about with 2 or 3 inches of snow in Huntsville, Alabama, but just it could coat things. It could make the ground white, and it might make some things glisten out there. You never know. And it's always nice to see, just before the holidays. But I know not everybody views this cold and winter weather. This is a dangerous storm, especially the further north you work. But the further north you work into Tennessee, the longer period of snow you get. In the Kentucky also, if you're a winter weather fan of Kentucky, you like this run. This gives you a few hour period of snow. And I know you're thinking, a few hours is not a lot, Mitch, but I'm telling you, you could get light to moderate snow, maybe not even heavy behind this, but I think it's going to be heavy. And it could accumulate to 2 to 3 to 4 inches very quickly. Just so watch this. We'll stop it. This is the last frame of the HRRR model. Then the next long-range HRRR model comes out in about 2 hours. But we'll stop this, and let's just get a little bit closer. Look at my folks in Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. This moves through, right? We'll stop it. This is around, let's say, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's raining in areas of eastern Indiana, right? Just a little bit of rain. And then you look at western Indiana. This is quickly changing to snow. There's a little bit of just like a line of heavy stuff. I just talked about this, but, look at this. I mean, look at Indianapolis. This is knocking on your door. Rain changes to heavy snow. And then behind it, you get that period. So a little bit closer look. I mean, look at Ohio. One part of the state not seeing much of anything. probably temperatures in the 30s and 40s. The other part, in western Ohio at this point, if we stop it, this is probably around 10, 11 p.m., probably tomorrow night. In the other part, it's probably in the teens and single digits and snowing, accumulating on everything rapidly, I'm telling you. And same thing with Kentucky, guys. The front moves through. It's snowing, maybe just for a few hours. But look at the. You see the yellow here? That is indicating heavy precipitation and almost like a squall line-like feature. Strong winds. This is going to blast through, and it can get dangerous. And the winds do not diminish much behind this. In fact, they crank up. So it's insane. And I'll stop this. We can actually look at the temperatures for this same thing, and I'll stop it right here. Look at my folks in Ohio, for example. Right? Let's see if I can do this on the fly. Same time frame. Remember, this is the squall line right here of snow. Look, Cleveland, you're in the 40s. All right? All of eastern Ohio in the 40s. This is the dividing line of the Arctic boundary. This is the HRRR model. You're below zero in some counties in far western Ohio while you're in the 40s, easy like Sunday morning ahead of the front. This is the thing that people are chirping about and how dangerous it is. Meanwhile, the entire state of Illinois, everybody is 10 degrees below zero at least from the latest HRRR model. Just incredible dynamics with this. So let's talk about my folks, and we're going to talk a little bit more on the Northeast. I know I just left you guys hanging, but one thing we'll mention is later tonight, ice begins to fall in areas of the mountains, even the eastern slopes of North Carolina. This starts kicking in, and look at this. Snow's falling. And it's saying that you're going to get a burst of snow into northern VA, certainly eastern West Virginia, these higher elevations, and this moves through. In this little area right here with some higher elevations in western Maryland, West Virginia, and Virginia is going to get a heavy burst of snow. It's going to fall very quickly tomorrow morning. It's going to be more of a heavy wet snow because this is a totally different atmosphere than the Arctic boundary that's moving off from the west to the east. But this is like a little teaser event for these areas. So it's going to be wild if you're in these mountainous areas of West Virginia, even areas of Pennsylvania, all those areas I just mentioned, because it's funny, you'll go for heavy snow, some icing. These areas, by the way, just saw a massive ice storm last week. I mean, an inch of ice, which is, I saw some pictures. It just looked like apocalyptic ice storm. It was wild. But you continue to go through the morning hours, and this switches back to rain for the areas that probably just get a good front-end thumping of 3 to 6 inches of snow and probably maybe a quarter inch of ice in certain spots, some sleet mixed in. But what comes in behind this is the Arctic front. And here it is. Look at the Arctic front riding all this moisture. So you warm up, some snow's probably melting at this point, but then it just rapidly refreezes behind us. So, if you're in the mountains, if you're celebrating Christmas in the mountains, I think most of the Appalachian Mountains, if you don't even already have snow on the ground, you're going to get a white Christmas. Even as far south as the mountains of North Carolina and Tennessee. I do, even if it's just 1 inch of snow on the ground. But you keep going north, and with the same event, snow's moving through Pennsylvania, it could be pretty heavy. A heavy burst of snow for Binghamton. It might make it as far, you might get a burst of snow in Buffalo, maybe State College, but it quickly all goes to rain, except for these higher elevations in New York State, Vermont, New Hampshire. So this is, like I said, this is tomorrow night into tomorrow morning. So the blend of all models for this first event, not a whole lot. But let me go back and look at something because I don't want to leave you guys hanging in the Northeast. Really quick, let's look at the Northeast. And like I said, we're just not in range. We can switch and look at the NAM really quick and how this unfolds. And this is the NAM. Here's the first event. Here's the second event, rolling behind it. Okay, so you got this little event right here. It's pumping out strong winds for New England. And here comes the event behind it. You switch from rain to all snow in West Virginia. Pittsburgh, a nice several-hour period of snow. You switch from rain to snow very quickly in Buffalo, State College, Scranton. And look, even for my folks down here in Washington, D.C., Baltimore, you get a rain switching to a few-hour period of maybe a thumping of snow that might coat everything. So if you're holding on for hope from my folks down in Washington, D.C., maybe even point south, you could get a period of snow Friday morning. I really think it's possible. Now, even New Jersey, even New York City, if I was to keep this going, it would show the same deal. But we'll be in full range of all these short range models a little bit later, but if I stop it right here, it's about midday Friday. You got some heavy rain switches to heavy snow very rapidly. And for example, in New York City, you're raining, but if you look at your folks down here in southern New Jersey, it's snowing. And remember, even if it's 1 hour of snow, if you can get a burst of snow, everything's going to flash freeze behind this. It's not like you get a period of snow and the temperature drops 5 degrees. Okay, it's going to drop into the teens and 20s very rapidly. So I can't reiterate enough. If you folks are disappointed about your snow amounts, I'm telling you guys, it's, the lake effect snow bands are insane too. We'll talk about that tonight. There's so much to talk about. For a weather nerd like me, it's pretty wild to talk about this system. But anyways, snow just from this first little system later tonight into tomorrow, into tomorrow, into overnight tomorrow night. Not a whole lot. A few inches are possible from the blend of all models, but you got to watch out for ice down here. Certainly some accumulating ice as far south as northern counties in North Carolina. Is certainly possible. It's picking up on it. Maybe a 10th to maybe a 20th of an inch of ice at most. So I just showed you this, but I mean, listen, this is snowfall totals for these areas. Right now, this is the blend of all models throughout the duration of the event. Listen, I mean, the Great Lakes region is going to be like a snow globe, no doubt. Like a snow globe up here. You're going to get lake-enhanced moisture. It's still snowing in these areas, and this just takes us all the way out to Christmas morning. But it is still snowing in these areas in Michigan. You got 2 feet of snow up here between now and Christmas morning in the UP of Michigan, widespread. Wisconsin, most of the state's going to at least see 5 to 6 inches of snow, at least. Now, I know you're looking down here, for folks, in Kansas City, or it's only showing you an inch or two of snow. Missouri, only widespread 1 to 3 inches of snow. St. Louis, only 2 to 3 inches of snow. I know you're thinking that's not a lot of snow, Mitch, but I know that your criteria for snow is much higher up here, but millions of people are going to see a white Christmas. To me, I only can speak for what I love, and I love the vibe of Christmas. And if you gave me an inch of snow 2 days or a day before Christmas, I would be so thankful. And I know I keep saying that, but a lot of people are going to see a white Christmas. Snow on the ground. It's just going to be some dangerous conditions that are going to get brought with it. So that is the dangerous part. Very dangerous conditions. My folks in Kentucky, widespread 1 to 2 inches of snow. You look down here in Tennessee, I really think Nashville could get 1 inch to 1.5 inches of snow. Memphis, like I said, not a long period of snow, but it could be enough to add up to 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Okay, and then you look at let's just look at the European ensemble, the latest one. Okay, it matches up decently well, but like I said, the Ohio Valley does not show much snow. It does not. It really doesn't. Let's look at the HRRR model. Let's go back and see if it's in range. Let's go 48 hours out. Okay, and remember, it hasn't quite got to areas of Ohio and Pennsylvania yet. The HRRR model, and you got these weird lines here. It doesn't pick up on things well. It doesn't give a lot of Illinois a lot of snow. It kind of puts a little dry slot in here. It only gets Chicago 2 inches of snow. You guys are not going to like that, I know. But listen, these snowfall totals, basically from this little line south, are going to be very hard to predict. I would cut you people some slack. I know that y'all expect people like me and these guys to get it 100% right, but there is going to be some whiffed forecast out there. I'm telling you right now. You look at this, right? And let's look at the NAM and see how much different it looks, right? And I can tell you the NAM and the HRRR model agree with this little area right into here, into Missouri, into Illinois, not getting a lot. But just a reminder that this is 10-to-1 ratio. I know a lot of people in the comments keep reminding me of that, but I keep saying it. 10-to-1 ratio. This only goes out to midday Friday, by the way. It's still snowing in a lot of these areas. 10-to-1 ratio. So it's only accounting for that. I think it'll be snowing at a 25 to 30-to-1 ratio behind this front. So add a couple inches to this in Missouri, I really think. But I could be wrong. You guys could be giving me flack around Christmas saying Mitch only got an inch of snow in St. Louis and Kansas City. It's possible. It is. But even gives you folks down here in northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, a dusting of snow. So it's still snowing. I'm telling you, the lake effect snow machines off this, after this system moves through, it's going to be snowing through Christmas Eve and Christmas. But You look at the GEFS ensembles with this, it's a much better look for everybody. It gives areas in Tennessee down here, 2 to 3 inches of snow in the northern counties. And I honestly, I favor this a little bit more. And this is still snowing in a lot of these areas. This takes us all the way out to the morning of Christmas morning. And I actually like this idea a lot more than almost any other model. To me, I know we can look at the mesoscale models all day, but I see this happening more. Looking at my folks in the Northeast, I see this happening. And it's still snowing in a lot of these areas. But we'll see what happens, guys. There's a lot to figure out, even though the storm's cranking up tonight. But this is beginning to become a now thing, and it's going to be very difficult, guys. So that's all I got. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll have you an update tonight. We'll give you some revised short-range model guidance. But, by the time we get into this time tomorrow, this thing's going to be game time. There's going to be a lot of people on YouTube going live. I wish I could go live with this. I really do. That would be phenomenal. I would be geeking out with you guys. But hopefully one day in the future, I can go live with you folks and do my part in the weather community of doing that, God willing. But God bless all y'all. Stay safe out there, and talk to you this evening.